What the hell happened to CCIV today, going up 9.5% at one point today, 10 minutes into market open at 9:40 a.m., down 1.69%. Pretty much ever since then, we saw a huge bounce to the upside, but we're sitting at about 2 to 3% to the positive, and then at about 2:30, even 2 o'clock, that's where we really started to pick up steam and start to get a wild day like we see today as far as a percentage basis. So we're going to take a look at exactly why CCIV is rallying, as well as go over the ortex data, because that is signifying shorts are not covering their short positions. But we will look at everything you guys need to know as far as the data side of this, and we will also take a look at the technical analysis, because I do think there is much more room for a potential leg up. And congratulations for anybody that is invested in CCIV or has trades in CCIV like myself. And with that being said, I will also be showing you guys my positions and my long position in CCIV to keep you up to date with the moves that I am making. But if you guys want to stay up to date in real time with the moves that are being made, check out the link down below in the description for the buy and sell alerts. They literally pay for themselves. But getting right into the video, guys, let's take a brief look at why CCIV is rallying today. And this article was posted 4 hours ago by Chris MacDonald. It says CCIV stock, 5 reasons Churchill shares are climbing ahead of a Lucid Motors merger. It goes on to say the volume is a heavy trading volume, which we will take a look at that. It is an insane amount of volume relative to what we have seen over the past couple days especially. But it says CCIV stock higher on key catalysts. Perhaps the key catalyst driving shares of CCIV stock higher today is the pre-order data. The company reported recently that it has just reached a new milestone with respect to pre-orders. In fact, the company boasts having 10,000 pre-orders for its flagship Lucid Air vehicle. These pre-orders are, in quotes, bona fide reservations and appropriate deposits. Indeed, Lucid is being careful to specify this, even the pre-order fiascos we've seen with other EV players. Additionally, in the company's press release, Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson made some interesting comments. He said the following of the prospective 2-horse race between Tesla and Lucid. In quotes, ultimately, it's the technology that's going to win, and what's missing here is the recognition that this is a technology race. And right now, there's one winner in that tech race, and it's Tesla. That's why Tesla commands that market cap. That's why it is in a predominant position. We have world-class technology, and we'll aim to make this a 2-horse race. As well as that, we also do have Evercore ISI came out, in quotes, impressed by Lucid's product line following a test drive from the Grand Touring Edition Air. Indeed, Evercore appears to be more bullish than ever on CCIV or Lucid's products after assessing its product line as well as its pre-orders increase and its potential commercialization ramp up. These comments were compounded by a walkthrough of Lucid's flagship New York studio, which Evercore noted similar enthusiasm for. Finally, the company's upcoming merger vote is increasingly being seen as the buy the news event. Should shareholders vote as investors expect, Churchill could see an additional buying pressure over the near term. So this guy's prediction is we rally after the merger. That is exactly what I've been saying. I have been predicting this rally into the actual vote day for the merger for weeks now. So if you guys have seen these videos, maybe you made a trade on them. This is not financial advice. I don't recommend you copy any of these trades because you will probably lose money, because I will trade these a lot differently. I've been trading options for a very long time, but nevertheless, congratulations if you did make some fat tendies on this like we did as well in the buy and sell alerts. But with that being said, let's take a look at the ortex data, guys. This is shocking. The share utilization is at 100%. So that means that there is no additional shares to actually be sold short. The utilization is saying out of how many shares as far as a percentage basis are lent out versus not lent out. So the higher the number, the more shares that are unavailable to be traded, or the less shares that are available to be traded. So being at 100%, that is obviously as high as it does go. So it is very hard to get your hands on shares of CCIV to actually sell short, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because if we want the short interest to go up, obviously there's gonna need to be more shares able to be shorted. So I guess that's a bit of a downside, but you are seeing a lot of pressure on these shorts. As far as the short interest change of 0.08% for the day, return shares 863.41 thousand, borrowed shares of 904.67 thousand. That is a borrowed change of 41.27 thousand shares. So we have 41,000 additional shares that were sold short. This was 2 days ago. Keep in mind with the T+2 settlement time. So come Friday, we should be getting the data for today. That is what is really going to be important to pay attention to. But Overall, the current short interest percentage of free float is at 19.36%, extremely high. Anything at about 20% is categorized as extremely high and extreme pessimism towards the stock. And this was clear to see as far as a short squeeze and the catalyst coming, because there's no reason to be extremely pessimistic on Lucid Motors, especially with all the catalysts that were coming. So that was pretty much a no-brainer. But the current shares that are sold short of 40.63 million, that is a lot of shares relative to the volume that we have seen. And I do want to point out the days to cover at 3.98. This is essentially saying if all 40.63 million shares wanted to be covered, how long would it take, right? 3.98 days, essentially 4 days to cover their whole short position. So especially once you see that volume come in, you're going to see Lucid or CCIVs, whichever stock it is, right? We could be merging into Lucid come July 23rd. But whatever stock it is, we will see that buying power kick in with the extra volume that does come in. And then you're going to really see the shorts start to get squeezed out. And it could possibly be hard to cover these short positions just because there's such a big amount of shares. It's ridiculous. 4 days to cover is absolutely insane. But that is pretty much everything you guys need to know as far as the Vortex data. That is everything that I am concerned about. I will point out the cost to borrow is at almost 10%, which is pretty high for shorted shares and short positions. So that does signify that people that are lending these shares out, they do think a big move is coming, because why would you lend shares out, collect 2% interest if you thought the stock was going to move 10 to 20%? You wouldn't do that. You would lend them out for 10% interest, so you're at least making money on the transaction nevertheless. But let's get into the actual technical analysis, guys. As we have pointed out many times, we have a lot of lines drawn on this chart. Don't get lost in the sauce. It's not that confusing. Now, we did hit a high of $29.20 today. We didn't really bounce off of that too bad, right? We did come down a little bit, only about 40 cents, so that is good. We didn't crater from this, but we are actually approaching this $30 resistance level. And then after 30, it is important to point out, we don't really have any other resistance levels until you get to about $35. So or $33, excuse me. So I do want to point that out on the chart. Once you get to about this $33 price point, that is the last level of resistance you actually have when it does come to CCIV. We could see that literally that's the biggest bounce we got. We came right back down from there in a very bearish downtrend, even hitting lows of $16.97 and never even coming close to this $30 price point. So the fact we are getting close to that, I do think you're going to have a lot of shorts that are trying to cover their short positions. But in the meantime, obviously, to cover a short position, you have to buy back the stock. So we're going to see CCIV share price go absolutely insane, especially when it comes down to these vote days for the merger and then the actual merger, which should be July 23rd. And then obviously the vote day will be one day before that, July 22nd. So I do think overall it is possible we consolidate here and then break out past 30, even go to about $33 before we chill out again, and then break out over that $33 price point. I think by the time we do merge, if we get this short squeeze, we could possibly go to $45, even $50 with a short squeeze. But I think the most likely and reasonable expectation is probably around $40 per share. I think at that point, it'll be a psychological resistance level. But then again, a lot of these institutions and hedge funds, if they wanted to invest in CCIV, they did not get in at that original price at $15 per share, where all CCIV shares are backed at. They wouldn't be taking the risk of investing in CCIV right now. It's too risky for them, and they are quite frankly not going to be doing this. They would stand to lose about 40 to 50% of their total investment. So if they deposit $10 million or invest $10 million into CCIV pre-merger, they would stand to lose about $4.5 to $5 million on their investment. That is not a risk they're willing to take. So I do think you're going to see a lot of institutional and hedge fund buyers that do start to come in just because there's so much growth ahead for CCIV. But as far as potential downside, you're going to want to watch that $27.80 mark, as well as a lower end level at about $26.54. I don't think we're coming back down to there, even if we do get a slight red day tomorrow, which is possible. It's definitely not out the woods, but I do think that'll overall be a price discovery range, right? Pretty much a consolidation period. But as far as the MACD, obviously that is very bullish. We're seeing a lot of good inflows today. As far as the TSI that follows the MACD, that is bullish as well. Now I want to take a look at the volume. To point this out for you guys, we did have 19,426,000 in volume for the day. Just yesterday, we had not even 8.5 million for volume. So we've seen a huge day, about 10 million more in additional volume. So that's why I say it's going to be very important to watch what the ortex data does reflect as far as how many shorts did cover their positions come Friday. But overall, I do see a huge rally coming in CCIV. But that's pretty much all for the technicals. Let's take a look at my overall position. I'm up $902.42, up 24.22%. I really wish I bought more. Hindsight is 2020, but I do have a decent position in this market value of $4,628. I have originally invested about $3,500. I do believe, yeah, 4,600 minus 900, that's 3,500. My average cost at $23.14. I have 161 shares at 11.36% of my portfolio. So if you can't tell, I am very bullish on CCIV for the long term, and this is most definitely a long-term trade, as well as there is a very good swing trade here, and I've already been able to profit off of this. Obviously, I should have held those contracts that I did point out in the last video. They definitely would have done good. I did have the August 20th $40 calls. I sold out for 167 bucks a piece. I bought them for 141, so I made about $55 in profits. They're currently worth $214. So nevertheless, I do like my call there to sell out. I would have made more if I held them, but you never know what's going to happen in the stock market. So if you are trading options, it is very important that you take profits, or at the very least get your initial investment back. Now, as far as the other trades that I currently do have open, is a CCIV $30 call for August 20th. I have no plans on selling this. I'm going to literally let this ride out. I don't care what happens. I think, like I said, CCIV could possibly go to $40 per share. That would put this contract worth $1,000. So I do think this will go deep into the money. Like I said, about $40, making it worth about $1,000. Average cost, I paid $191 for this contract. It's currently worth $393. I'm up $202 or 105.76%. And if you were in the buy and sell alerts when you were notified on this, this would have covered your costs for about a year, about 11 months, just in the profits alone, not even your initial investment in this. So it literally pays for itself. If you guys want to be a part of it, check it out. But I also do have a covered call that I sold for $120. July 9th, a $35 call, and I'm up 60.83% or $73 on this. Now, I wanted to get a short amount of time. This was during the last rally in CCIV when we did go to about $26, $27 and then came right back down. So I did call this at the top and sold this cover call. And like I said, I just wanted to get enough time where you get that premium baked into it and you can collect more money by essentially selling the call, agreeing to sell your 100 shares at $35. So it's a win-win either way. Collected $120. It is starting to come back up, but I don't think CCIV will likely close over $35 by this next upcoming Friday, right? Not tomorrow or this upcoming Friday, but the next Friday. I don't think it will close at $35, but it is possible we just go straight into a short squeeze, and then I'm forced to sell my shares at $35. Like I said, either way, a win-win, and I would just invest all those profits back into CCIV shares. But that is pretty much all I do have for this video, guys. That is everything you guys need to know. Why CCIV rallied today, the technical analysis, the ortex data, as well as my position. So with all that being said, make sure to check out the links down below in the description. There is a link for public. No need to even link a bank account or deposit a single dollar. You get your free stock immediately. If you did it right now, it would take about 3 minutes time to do. So there is no reason not to do this, guys. It is literally free money. I love the platform, and they do not route your order flows to companies like Citadel. The only other brokerages that do not do that are Merrill Lynch and Fidelity. So if you guys are not a part of public, I do highly recommend you do that, as well as if you are not signed up for Webull, that is also free money. Deposit $100 into your Webull account, get 4 free stocks, each of them potentially worth up to $2,400 a piece. So if you guys have not done those links or signed up for those companies, highly recommend you do, as well as the buy and sell alerts, like I've said a couple times in this video. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.